Okay, my name's Paul Henshaw and I'm standing at the edge of the village of Llanwrda, and behind me there we've got the A40 main road between Llandeilo and Llandovery. And what I'm planning to do is take a walk down Station Road where I live, which is down there, and we're going to have a look at a few things in connection with, there's talk of pylons being put up in the Towy Valley, and obviously it's just talk at the moment, but people have been spotted looking around on private land and knocking on doors, things like that. People are obviously starting to make inquiries and put the feelers out about possibly putting pylons on people's land, or maybe running cable under the ground. But it's all to do with linking a wind farm that's not far off the English-Welsh border with a substation near Carmarthen, and they want to run cable either overground or under it all the way to connect the two. And it's very likely that if they do, they're going to try and use pylons to do it, because it'll be cheaper than putting the cable under the ground apparently. So I thought we'd have a little walk down the road and have a look at the Towy Valley, my area of it in Llanwrda, and I'll just point out and comment on a few things and reasons that I think may not be entirely friendly towards putting pylons up. But let's go and have a look anyway, and I'll just tell it like it is. I obviously don't really want pylons anywhere near my house. I mean, who does? But let's take a look at the entire width of the Towy Valley at Llanwrda and see what we've got and what they might be up against. So we'll just walk down the road here a little bit. I'm not going to film every step of my trip, but I'll film enough of it so you get the general idea of where I am. We'll cross the road here. This road goes, it's a dead end road actually. It's called Station Road, and it goes down to the railway station, which we'll have a look at in a moment. But we're going to go round the corner there. You see there's a farmhouse there, a couple of houses there, Towy Valley behind. That's looking towards Llandovery, quite a wide flat valley, and that's the other way looking towards Llangadog and Llandeilo. So we're going to go and walk down the road past that house, past the house called the Mill, which I'll swing around and pick up on to sort of tie in with the whole stretch of the road, and I'll pick up the commentary from there. There we are, we can see traffic on the A40 there, with some houses behind, and we've got one field's width between that and the hedge and Station Road. So we'll carry on walking down Station Road a little further, and then I'll pick out a few more little points of interest to discuss. We've come a little bit further down Station Road now, and past the farm and the old mill, and now we're looking straight towards Llandovery, and there's a nice, apparently quite wide, flat section of valley there looking towards Llandovery. Zoom in on that and have a little look. We can see that there's already power lines there on wooden poles going through the fields, and we'll have a look at the other direction. That's looking towards Llangadog and Llandeilo. Right, so it would appear that there's quite a wide flat area there which might be suitable to them, but let's not forget those electric poles that are there already, which would probably be wiped out anyway, I'm guessing. And it's quite possible that that might be where they would put pylons or run a cable. But let's just walk down here a little. Now then, there's a white pole there in the hedge. Looks innocent enough, doesn't it? Except that's to tell those who know, or need to know, that there's a whopping great gas pipeline under the ground there. Again, running from beyond Llandovery, the other side, through Llandovery, through Llanwrda here, and on to Llangadog and beyond. So, I don't suppose they'd want or be allowed to put pylons right above a gas pipeline. So I would say, or even bury a cable there for that matter, so I would say that that's probably going to be out of bounds. Let's carry on down Station Road a little. Oh, what's that there? I'll tell you what that there is. You see the red and white sign and a little sort of gap and a brick built bridge with railings. That's the railway. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Anyway, let's carry on down the road. And I'll stop filming again in a moment because there's not much to see really until we get near the railway line. So in the distance there we've got those big trees and we've got Adclad to use as a reference point when we're the other side of them on Station Road. Right, we're standing outside Adclad now and we're looking towards Llandovery across the valley floor there. As I already said, there's a gas pipeline under that and we're getting very close to the railway now, which you can see the sign for. See the red and white sign there for the railway. Now I wouldn't have thought that the railway would want pylons too close to it. We do have a phone mast there already. That caused enough trouble in its day. That's another view of the valley floor looking towards Llangadog and Llandeilo beyond. Some nice old trees there that have been minding their own business probably for the last 150 years or more, all the way down that field. Presumably some of them might have to get hacked down if pylons are going in. That wouldn't really be very environmentally friendly, would it? Those trees look lovely in the summer when they're all green, right across the valley floor, all the way back along those fields. But there we are. If they've got to go, I suppose they've got to go. Now we're getting near the railway line. And I'll keep the camera going for this just for now. And another view down the valley there towards Llangadog and Llandeilo. So we've already got obviously stuff like that here. Well, I mean, we want to have electricity and lights in our houses, don't we? So but there seems to be an adequate supply of electricity in the area already. That interesting little building, there's pumps in that. That's a sewerage pumping station, and obviously, as well as the sewers, there's mains water buried under here somewhere. So there's obviously water and sewerage pipes under the ground around here as well. That's the village sewerage pumping station, so we've got pipes obviously run between that all the way up there to the village obviously. Now we come to the railway itself. Llangadog and Llandeilo are in that direction. Llandovery is in that direction. I'll just stop filming here and we'll pick up shortly. Here we are in my backyard. That's looking towards the railway there. The railway line runs right in front of my house. I got no problems with that, but it's there. If we look round this way, we're on, obviously we've crossed the railway line now and we're on the other side looking at it. and this is the land on the other side of the railway line looking towards Llangadog and Llandeilo. Now, I checked to see if I had any video footage, and unfortunately I haven't, but I've got lots and lots and lots of still photos with all this lot underwater when the Towy's in flood. Even that tree there closest to us, surrounded by water, and those sheep, there they are, look, happily grazing away. Well, there are times when those sheep would be about 4 feet underwater there. So in view of that and the railway line being just there, I can't really see that this side of the tracks, the wrong side of the tracks where I come from, would actually be a suitable place to put pylons or bury a cable, but you never know, they might decide they want to. There could be a compulsory purchase, and maybe my house and buildings might even have to go if they decide that that is right where X marks a spot and a pylon has to go. I don't know, but I wouldn't have thought that this side of the tracks would be as suitable as the other. But the other side of the tracks is where most or more of the villagers would see pylons if they were put there, and obviously passing traffic and tourists would see them, so not such a good idea from that point of view. And there's some of those trees that would probably have to go as well in the process. And there's another thing, low-flying aircraft, and I'm hoping I've got some footage that I can tie in with this clip of various low-flying military aircraft that like to use this valley for practice. And I've seen some that look like they might almost knock the chimney pots off my house, they fly so low. I mean, obviously they are a good way above them, but they fly very low. Now, the pylons they're talking about might be 25 or 30 metres tall. I would say that might be tall enough for them to be a bit of a nuisance and a hindrance to the aircraft practicing, the military aircraft. And I think at the moment, with the current state of affairs in the world, our military need all the practice that they can get. And obviously, they like to use this valley for their high-speed fighter jets and the Hercules transportation planes and similar. And they don't bother me. They go over in a matter of a few seconds, they've been and gone, and that's it. But if there's going to be pylons, they're going to be there forever. The next step, I'm going to take a walk down closer to the river, and again just sort of discuss some of the areas that flood and are not really suitable. Now, I'm looking over there, I've also got pictures of that entirely covered in water. I might be able to knit some of these still pictures into my video if I can find out how you do that. But next up, we're going to walk down towards and probably to the river to round up the entire width of the valley here in Llanwrda. Right, so there we are, looking up towards the village, and the railway line is right in front of us there. We're going to go down here now towards the river and take a look, and I'll discuss a few things down here. So I'll get through this gate and then we'll pick up on the other side. Well, here we are on the other side of the railway line now, and all those trees and the hedge along there represent where the railway line is. And looking that way, once again we're looking towards Llandovery, but we're getting quite close to the river now. We've got all those old trees there. We go through a bit of woodland. I'll keep filming for a moment and we'll go to the river. But again, I've got pictures of all this lot totally submerged in brown water. Now, whether or not that would have any impact on whether they want to build pylons here or what, I don't know. Presumably the bases of them being underwater might not cause any harm, or would they perhaps want to make big concrete pads up to stand them on? Maybe that's another option, but they'd be pretty ugly, and I suppose anything like that would also raise the overall height of the pylons again, which could have some sort of impact on the military practicing with their aircraft, which I think is very important and much needed by us, especially in the present day, as I've already said. Now, I'll zoom in there. Those trees and that sort of hawthorny stuff, the prickly stuff there, bushy stuff, just the other side of that is the river, and we'll go and take a look at it in a moment, and we'll see exactly how close it is. But all this area that I'm walking on and all that there, as I say, I've got loads and loads and loads of photographic evidence of it all being under the water. Sadly, no video footage, but take my word for it, this lot goes right under the water sometimes. Let's just take a look back there. That's where I came in, through that gate. Once again, I'm going to stop filming, and we'll pick up a little bit closer to the river and look back at that to confirm that we've covered the whole area. There we are, looking back at the direction that we've travelled in. So we come all the way down here now, and I'm right at the edge of the River Towy. There it is. Quite peaceful and quiet today. You'll notice all this, all these bits of trees and all the shale and gravel. Sometimes this is just a raging torrent, and I would actually be under the water here now. I'm standing here, to give you some idea of it. Where I'm standing now, at certain times of the year when the river's in flood, well, I'd certainly have the water up to my chest sometimes down here. Oh, we've got some ducks there. We've got wildlife as well, lots of that around here. This is a very unspoilt area. Hardly anyone ever comes down here, really. I've seen otters, swans, geese, ducks, foxes. They're not everyone's cup of tea, but they're also part of the wildlife. All those things down here, doing their own thing, minding their own business, largely. And over there behind us, that hillside there is sort of pretty much where our part of the valley obviously ends, and you go up the hill. So you've got, from there, you've got the River Towy immediately in front of it, certainly when it's in flood. And then looking round, you got, from where I'm standing up to those trees there, that's where the railway line is. So there's not so much suitable area and width down here, I think, for putting pylons or burying cables. So I'd be very surprised if we were in trouble down here. I think that whatever they might be conjuring up and scheming and plotting, plotting and scheming even, I think you'd probably be looking at the other side of the railway line. But then, going back to that gas pipeline and the electric cables that are already there, which I suppose, as I've already said, might just sort of go and be replaced by the pylons, but that would be very close to the village, and I think people should be aware of that. Not really an entirely suitable area to do things like that down here, especially this side of the tracks. But we've looked at the whole width and spectrum of the valley now, from one side to the other, right up to the village, and that's what it consists of. So I just thought it might be of interest and possibly even of some use to some people to be aware of that and actually see for themselves. There's not many people see the whole width of the valley in Llanwrda itself, but that's it, I've covered it, and make of it what you will, and I hope perhaps it's been of some interest to some people. This coming. Hey.